Fucked and drank all night, acted all alright. Had no need to fight tonight.
Right guys, welcome back to the build. On the next step of fitting the Syncro Gearboxes adapter kit to the car, we're going to be fitting the spigot bush into the back of the engine, into the crank. This, according to the instructions, you hit it in as far as it will go into the crank casing, and to do this I'm just going to be using an old socket which is roughly the right diameter on it. There doesn't seem to be a particular way this piece goes in. Actually this side's a bit more flush, so I think I'll go this side in. But yeah, I think I'm going to start by just giving it a gentle tap, try and centralise it, give it a gentle tap. May actually just get a rubber mallet to hit it in the first bit, just as I don't want to damage it at all. So now that's flush, but the kit says not to do it flush, so I'm gonna now use the socket. And as you can hear, there's just been a pretty convincing change of note on the thing, as you can hear. So that is now firmly seated in there. I'm just going to feel around the back and make sure it is, but I can feel it is, which is all good, which means we are now pretty much ready to fit the adapter kit onto the back. As you'll be able to see up here, the M57 lacks a rear hoist position, and there's I believe it's M10 bolt hole down there which you can utilise. So what I did was weld the existing 200 TDI engine hoisting mount that I had in stock onto an M10 bolt, and that should be sufficient to just lift the engine up. So as you can see, I'm continuing to crack on with some little jobs on the M57. What I've just done is removed, this is the cable that goes from the starter motor on the M57 to the alternator. This normally has another piece which then comes off of here and goes to live on the battery in the car. So as mine had been cut off, and I'm actually just going to be running my existing Land Rover wire to this point to provide power, what I've done was cut off the original with an angle grinder and then just smoothed everything off so there's no chance of it chafing through anything. And now I'll refit it to the engine. I won't film it as it's a bit awkward to see. Alongside that, I've just removed the fuel pipes. So as standard, this kind of fuel piping that you can see here is on the M57. This is kind of some type of valve for the return lines of the fuel. These are no longer needed. You literally just run a hose straight out the outlet on the high pressure pump on the M57 straight back to the tank, and you run from the fuel pumps into the inn. So I've removed those. I'm going to order in some piping that's the same diameter, order it all up and get that sorted. What else have I done? Over here I've removed the power steering line off the M57. Obviously it's been cut and is knackered and won't be used, but what I do need to do is keep this fitting, and then I'll be able to easily know what fitting it, type of fitting it is, and be able to go down to a power steering shop and they'll be able to make me up a new one that will allow me to mount it into the Defender box. So as you can see, I've hoisted up the M57 engine and I've drained the oil of it. Big thanks to the previous owner who didn't drain it of oil before giving it to us, as when I initially jacked it up it started pouring out the crank holes, which was great, but anyway, the oil's now drained. I've got a new sump plug and washer for that. I've also finally finished removing the AC compressor, as it was kind of propping the engine up and was stopping it from being removed. I can now get to the engine mounts brackets in here and test my new engine mounts over there, fit them in place and get them ready. What else have I done? I've also chopped off any pipes with threads on them that I think I'll need later on. So that's the power steering one. This is the pipe that I need to measure in a bit for the fuel lines. And I removed the earth strap, which was mounted to the mounted to the engine mount. Around here I haven't actually done too much. I've just kind of hoiked it up, and now I'm gonna potentially do the water pump, although actually I think it may be easier for me to do this when I've actually got the engine in the car, as the water pump is there, and is it there? Yeah, there, and it's just going to be easier when it's in the car and it's holding itself up without it dangling around. It's just all a little bit sketchy, just got to be a bit careful. What else? So next I plan on fitting the adapter plate to the back of the engine. I'm also going to make sure the starter clearance is okay, as in the Syncro Gearboxes instructions it does say that you may have to grind some of the bell housing later on, so I'm just going to kind of look for potential issues with that. And then yeah, that's about it really. I will be mounting the gearbox and transfer box to it at some point. However, it's a bit of a handful with only one person here, and also currently I'm waiting on a power slave from LOF, so because I'm a bit worried about the clutch just being a little bit too heavy, so I'm going to fit one of those in one of the LOF power springs just to make it a bit more drivable. I mean, I live near the city, so it's just going to make it a bit more user friendly. The next step is to fit the flywheel and the clutch to the car for this, due to the amount of power that I'm going to be running, so about 240-250 brake horsepower. I went for the Clutchfix organic clutch kit that they provide for this conversion. The reason being, the Syncro Gearboxes clutch kit is designed for the standard fitment flywheel, and rather than develop this kind of a one-off clutch and flywheel, Shabs at Team Syncro actually decided to go down the route of producing the conversion kit for the BMW 6-speed manual box, which some view as a much better gearbox solution. However, for me personally, due to me getting a cheap R380, this was actually the best kit solution for me to go for. As you can see, this is slightly rusty, but that's because I've had this kit for nearly half a year now. It's been sitting in here, not particularly well covered, in quite a damp garage. But when this came, it was all immaculate, it was all lovely, and Clutchfix actually sorted me out with this. Once I paid, they had it to me in under 2 days. Also, as a thanks for mentioning their name on the build, they provide, well, they recommend anyway, a heavy duty release bearing, which, as you can see here, which has a metal backing compared to the standard R380 plastic one. The reason for this being that in this conversion, when you do conversions, you're changing the setup of the clutch pivot and fork, and even in a standard Land Rover R380, you can occasionally get a scenario where the release bearing, although not operating the clutch, can be slightly rested against the face of the clutch, causing it to spin, which can create a lot of heat and often melts the plastic backing of the release bearing. So this is the best solution for that, and should mean that this lasts for some time. Yeah, big thanks Ben at Clutchfix. He was really quick to get this out to me, and this is safe, I'm pretty sure, for 650 Newton meters. Mine will be running about 520 on this current tune, but if I were to do a couple of modifications later on, it could take it up to 300 brake horsepower, and also very close to that 650 Newton meter figure. So I've got that kind of built-in safety, which I'm kind of looking for. So now I'll obviously fit this to the back of the engine, and yeah, it's going to start looking a lot closer to being ready to fit it into the car.